Your friends, we are with criteria 5, student support and progression. This is a very important criteria. There are two criteria in NAC where colleges often are not able to score very well. One happens to be criteria 3 and the second one happens to be criteria 5. Actually, criteria is a 5 is a criteria where which actually relates to the students and therefore we should be able to get good scores. But however, we don't understand the criteria and therefore we start suffering out. If we understand this criteria, we can accordingly work on it and that can make a big impact. We are talking about the students. Criteria 5 talks about student support and student progression. Now, what is student support and what is student progression? Let us look into the support part of it first. 5.1.1 talks about average percentage of students benefited by scholarship and free ships provided by government during the last 5 years. Now see, government provides a very large number of fellowships and free ships to the scheduled caste, to the scheduled tribes, to some Divyanga students, to girl child. State government provides, central government provides. Now it is our responsibility to see to it that students fill up those forms. They do not know from where those fellowships can come. Very few of them know, or they know very few fellowships. It becomes our job to see to it that which fellowships are available, when are they available, how to showcase them out. To see to it, maximum number of students get the benefit out of it. Here I wish to share one example. In my college, HV Desai College, in the year 17-18, we had earned a fellowship of something like 2 lakh rupees for the students. In the year 18-19, what we did was, and then even in the year 19-20 also. In 18-19, what we did was we appointed a special person from the administrative staff only who was a little more active. He went through those fellowships. He went through the details of the fellowships. He tried to study them out. And then we tried to advertise it out. During this advertisement, we put those advertisements on the notice board, then on the blackboard, a big one, then on the electronic board that we had. He also went from classroom to classroom to advertise it. He promoted the students to get all the necessary documents. The net result in 18-19 was the fellowships which the organization had earned of around 2 lakh rupees in the previous year, it went multiple fold to the extent of 19 lakh rupees. Now you are able to see 2 lakh to 19 lakh. This is a huge jump just because a little push that has been provided by one person. Now if the students, they don't come to us, especially in the urban areas, students feel ashamed to go and talk to the teachers, to tell the administration. It is our responsibility to see to it that this money that is provided by the government reaches the right people and they are able to take the best benefit. A very large number of students in my organization get such kind of fellowships of the government because of the proactive approaches that the organization has taken. Now here we are able to see this is about the government fellowship. 5.1.2 talks about fellowships which is not of the government, where the organization works on it. For example, we have a large number of senior teachers. Senior teachers are in communication with the community. The community keeps on interfering and keeps on talking to the teachers. They say that well, we will like to help the poor students. Now what was done is a poor boys fund has been created. It's not only for the boys. It has been labeled as poor boys fund. It is not even told to the student that it comes under this heading. Those students who deserve such kind of fellowships on the criteria that the organization has decided, accordingly we provide them those some small amounts, 15,000, 20,000 a year. In one of the organizations, they have gone one step ahead. The amount that is provided on a loan, and it is said that you will return the money. They never put any kind of clauses for it. But this activity by that organization is going on for the past 8 years. Now, after 4 years or so, Students have, some of them have actually started returning the money. Now that is slowly adding to the pool of the particular issue. In one of the colleges in Sangamner that you are able to see, one of the alumni has provided something like a few crore rupees to the college for the students to learn over here. So you are able to see in 5.1.2 all this fund can come in, whereby how are you helping the students to get the funds. There are many areas where students cannot get the funds. In through these areas, students can assure their learning process to go on in a better way. We come to 5.1.3. 5.1.1 and 5.1.2 was about the fellowships. This is how you support the students. Now, what more do you do to support the student? How can you increase the capability of the student? So 5.1.3 talks about the capability building and skill enhancement initiatives taken by the institution. It could be, if you don't have the right people, you can hire them, but see to it that how you increase the capability of the student. Now, where will this capability enhancement be needed for them to go for their higher education? Where will it be needed for them to go into the jobs? So, what are those capabilities that can come in? It could be soft skills. It could be having a good health, that is yoga. It could be language and communication skills. It could be ICT and computing skills. These are the 4 areas that they have made a mention of. I repeat them out: soft skills, language and communication skills, life skills, that is yoga, fitness, health, hygiene, etc., and ICT skills. Now, what kind of courses are you conducting for these students? It does not talk about any specific duration of the course. It says that have you conducted such kind of courses? Are you providing it to the student so that the students are getting and are able to enhance their capability? A 1 week yoga course for the student every year can make a big difference. A soft skills course to the student before he leaves the organization can make a big impact, because students do not know how to give interviews. If they are taught how to face interviews, they have the skills or they have the content, but they do not know how to present it. It costs them, and therefore capability enhancement is one big area that an organization needs to work with. Proper records need to be maintained. This goes without saying, without which you cannot prove that so many students have appeared for it. Now these records would include name of the capability scheme, name, year of implementation, number of students enrolled, number of agencies involved in case you are going to hire the agencies. Then you are also able to see the syllabus that you have designed, whether you have taken the sanctions from the management. All these aspects come in over here. Now these soft skills can include communication, it can include dependability, it can include attitude training. Then you are also able to see language labs, ICT skills and yoga, which we have already talked about. Now we come to 5.1.4. The percentage of students benefited by guidance for competitive examination and career counseling services offered by the institution during the last 5 years. It would mean that we need to have a competitive examination cell. This is one part. Second, we should take some kind of activities for these students whereby what kind of competitive examinations are available in the market. The student should be made available when he is actually learning and doing his undergraduation. Then, if such kind of services can be provided, they should be provided. It may come at a cost. It may come at an extra cost. It may be included in the syllabus, but it must be a part over here. Then you are able to see how many students have appeared for such kind of examinations, how many students have passed the competitive examinations, and how many students have been placed. This is what is expected in 5.1.4. Then we have 5.1.5. The institution has a transparent mechanism for timely redressal of student grievances during, including sexual harassment and ragging cases. This is an important support. Is the student safe on our campus? And how are we keeping this safety? So for which, what kind of mechanisms do we have? The statutory guidelines that we have, then awareness on policies and zero tolerance that needs to be mentioned out, mechanisms for submission of online and offline students, then you are able to say timely redressal of grievances to proper committees, that also really comes up. So we need to have discipline committee, we need to have, let us say, Mahila Sabalikaran committee, or there are a variety of committees that government has given. All these committees, they should be in position, they should have made their methodology to decide upon. Some things can definitely be worked out. For example, if there is some kind of a ragging, what kind of ragging is there, accordingly what kind of punishment will be given, and in how much days of time will it be sorted out, whether the process is free and fair. All these aspects need to come in place. In other words, we need to have our own policies for these aspects, and therefore 5.1 takes care of the support mechanism. Now we come to the second aspect, that is student progression. 5.2.1, average percentage of placements of outgoing students during the last 5 years. Very often colleges say our students got employed, we don't know how to show it. If they have got employment through their merits, it is not what you can show. For this particular aspect, you need to have a placement cell. You need to have a placement officer. The company should come on your campus. You should be able to show it through mails. The placement cell, how many students have got registered, how many appeared, how many passed, how many got inducted. The ones who have got inducted, they have got inducted because of you. That is, of you conducting it on the campus. In such a case, NAC believes only if the student has got his first salary slip is what is going to count out over here. If the first salary slip is not shown, all the process that you do does not make any sense. And therefore, placement is a serious business. Organization needs to be very serious about it. All the records need to be kept out. If it's an off-campus placement, then in that case, our nails are going to talk. Even there, if it's an off-campus placement, if it has been done through the organization, they are still going to check the salary slip of the student or the salary certificate. And the organization gives a salary certificate only to the college. It won't give it to anybody else. If you haven't placed the student, you cannot get a salary certificate or a salary slip of the student. And therefore, placements need to be done through the organization only, and only those are considered. So here you are able to see student progression in the first way, that is appointments. Second, you are able to see student progression can also take place in one more way. Either the student goes for a job or the student goes for higher learning. These are the only two ways of progression. NAC does not count the third way, called as the girl student getting married, the girl student or any other student not pursuing anywhere. For development, for progression, these are the only two routes that the government accepts or the NAC accepts. One is either he should come into the job, which we are talking now, or he should come into progression. If he comes into progression, what kind of progression is it? UG to PG, PG to MPhil, MPhil to PhD, PhD to postdoctoral. Now, if your student was working in UG, if he has gone to PG, then in that case, what would be the biggest proof? The transfer certificate. The organization has to give the transfer certificate, which it gives, but we give it to the student in hands. As a result of which you are able to see what happens is, we are not able to keep the records. What ideally is to be done is the transfer certificate should reach the organization. You can do it two ways. One is you can fill up all the data from the student as to where you are going to get transferred, where have you taken the admission. You give the data, then and then we will give you the transfer certificate. Second part is when you hand over the physical copy of the transfer certificate to the student and you have taken everything, all the data in your computer and also in a hard copy, then in that case the second part happens. So you are going to transfer the certificate online to that particular organization. So you have given the hard copy to him so that he can go and submit it, but it also goes to the organization which creates a proof with us, and therefore this is the most valid proof. Transfer certificate would mean that how are you keeping a check on your student, where he is going, what he is doing. You cannot say that the student had done BSc at our place, MSc at some other place, now he has completed his PhD, so he is our student, so हम उसका progression रख रहे हैं, वो आपका student नहीं रहा है. Once he has completed his masters in some other organization, he is the student of that organization. This is what needs to be counted out. Then we come to the next aspect, 5.2.3. Average percentage of students qualifying in state, national, international level examinations during the last 5 years. These are the competitive examinations that they are talking about. So it could be JAM, NET, SET, GATE, GMAT, CAT, GRE, TOEFL, civil services, any kind of examination that we talk of. All these are counted out over here in 5.2.3. So how many students have appeared, how many students have got selected in those respective areas needs to be mentioned out over here. Then we come to 5.3.1, which is about the number of awards, medals for outstanding performance in sports, cultural activities at national, international level. Something very important. If it's a hockey team and they have got into a national award, then in that case, that would be counted as 1. So you are able to see individually how many students have performed well in national and international events is what is expected over here. Then you are able to see something more. 5.3.2. Institution facilitates students' representation and engagement in various administrative, co-curricular and extracurricular activities following duly established processes and norms. We are talking about student council and student representation on various bodies. There are many committees that we formed. There are some committees where you can always have students. For example, cultural committee must have students. Sports committee can have students. Then in that case, on a variety of other committees also you can have students. For student progression, for student activities, students also should be inducted into it. They should be seen in the meetings. They should be seen as student representatives. They should sign the minutes copy also. And activities should be conducted for the students. So student representation comes out. That is what actually we are talking about over here in 5.3.2. Then we come to 5.3.3, which talks about sports and cultural activities and competitions organized at institutional level. What one organization had done was really very fantastic. They showed that they have conducted a cultural week. Into this cultural week, they had a very large number of activities. But they showed all those activities as one. Though 150 students had participated in that event out of the 500 odd students, they could not get scores because they showed all that activity as one activity. Though it's a cultural week, every activity inside it is an individual activity. If it's a sports week and if you are conducting activities for, let us say, 20 different games, then in that case these are 20 activities. Second part, how many students are participating, that number is going to count out. That number is correlated with the total number of students. That would mean that for a sports week, a very large participation should take place. For a cultural week, try to increase the number of competitions. That will make more participation. It could be Rangoli, it could be dance competition, it could be speaking on that particular minute, it could be mad ads, it could be so many things. Participating more number of students is what is expected over here. It is the number game and the number of events that you are listing out in this particular aspect.